This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Child care is needed in order to have a robust economy. We have people that want to work, and in order for them to work, they need to have quality, high-quality child care. Our justice system is on the brink of collapse. We have a shortage of assistant DAs, we have a shortage of public defenders. It takes people a long time to get get into court and have their case heard.
It's not just breakfast. It's something to start their day off in the right way, the right foot. I know that some of these kids, they need that. They need that food in their stomach.
Good morning. You just watched our eye opener with some of the stories we'll be covering this morning. Thank you for watching News 8 Now. I'm Sophia Pullman.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Thursday, March 9th, and you are going to be getting some snow.
Yeah, definitely looking likely now,
Yes.
especially later this morning and into this afternoon. So get ready. It is coming, and definitely some accumulations are looking likely here too. So we'll talk about that all coming up in just a bit, but I do want to go ahead and talk about what's happening right now locally. And so far, I can tell you we're off to a pretty cloudy start. There are a couple of snow flurries out there underneath some of those thicker clouds perhaps, but again, it's just mainly cloudy here for now. This is all a sign of what's to come here later today. And as you can see behind me, we are dealing with those thick overcast conditions. So once the sun rises here this morning, you won't really see it too much because it's just going to be encompassed in clouds. So our current temperatures are right now into the low to mid 30s. We're seeing 36 now in La Crosse, 32 to the north in Eau Claire, 33 in Sparta, and 34 in Winona. Temperatures further south in Prairie du Chien, 35. Winter storm warnings are in effect, as you can see highlighted in pink. This is for much of the Coulee region, but this does not include Eau Claire. If you're in Eau Claire, you're actually under that winter weather advisory, and some folks here off towards the Chippewa Valley in that similar spot as well. Either way, we're still expecting heavy snow in a lot of locations, snowfall accumulations looking likely, and difficult travel conditions to work with as well. So here's a check on your planner, looking at mainly cloudy skies throughout much of the morning. Heading into the late morning, that's when we start to see some snow. Then heavy snow arrives late this afternoon into this evening. More on this in just a bit. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin is leading an effort to restore reproductive health care at the federal level. Baldwin and Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal have introduced a bill called the Women's Health Protection Act of 2023. The bill wouldn't state to restrict access to abortion early in pregnancy, allow abortion during later pregnancies of stages if it affects the health of the mother, and allow citizens to travel out of state for an abortion. Senator Baldwin says every American deserves the freedom to make their own health care decisions without interference from politicians, and Wisconsinites overwhelmingly agree. Governor Tony Evers is continuing his statewide budget tour. On Wednesday, the governor made a stop in Chippewa Falls, where he visited the YMCA of the Chippewa Valley, an organization that has benefited from state funding. The Y has received more than $600,000 through the Child Care Counts program. Evers' budget includes more than $340 million from Child Care Counts. He says more affordable child care helps everyone in the workforce.
Child care is needed in order to have a robust economy. We have people that want to work, and in order for them to work, they need to have quality, high-quality child care.
Republicans have the next 4 months to rewrite their own version of the budget before sending it back to Evers for revision. Sticking with the governor's budget, a part of the budget Evers says he is unwilling to budge on is a raise for corrections officers, prosecutors, and public defenders. The state is struggling to hire across the criminal justice system. More than 33% of correctional officer positions are vacant, and the state bar says the prosecutor and public defender shortages is a crisis. Evers agrees.
Our justice system is on the brink of collapse. We have a shortage of assistant DAs, we have a shortage of public defenders. It takes people a long time to get into court and have their case heard.
Right now, corrections officers' pay is boosted by $4 an hour, funded by pandemic relief money. Evers is proposing a pay raise of $13 an hour for COs, but GOP lawmakers say that's unrealistic. Calling themselves the Home Crew Coalition, a group of Wisconsin business owners and former lawmakers, including the owner of the La Crosse Loggers, is working to keep the Brewers in the state. This comes as Evers included nearly $300 million in his budget proposal to fund repairs to American Family Field. In exchange, the Brewers said they would extend their lease. The Home Crew Coalition didn't exactly endorse Evers' plan, but said they're dedicated to the cause. Meanwhile, Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul is calling on lawmakers to approve $2.2 million in funding for the Office of School Safety. The office was created following the deadly 2018 shooting in Parkland, Florida, but it's at risk of shutting down. Kaul says it could run out of money by the end of the year. Since its creation, the office has distributed $100 million in federal grants for safety enhancements at schools, de-escalation training, and a 24-hour tip line for students and school staff. A student-led event is helping voters get to know more about the candidates running for the La Crosse School Board. Leaders Igniting Transformation, also known as LIT, hosted a candidate forum Wednesday night along with the League of Women Voters. And 6 of the 8 candidates were at the forum. Organizers say it's important for kids to get to know who's on their school board and that students are looking for the change in the district.
They want more mental health support and support systems within the school. They want more diversity within staff and student population. They want more inclusion and belongingness amongst themselves and their peers. And they just want more funding for things that matter most to them. So extracurriculars, classes that they care about.
West says allowing students to ask candidates questions themselves lets them have a stake in the election, even though a vast majority of students aren't eligible to vote. Today, the La Crosse School District is hosting its 3rd referendum information session. This one takes place from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Logan Middle School. The district has a referendum on the April ballot and is asking voters to approve a 6-year extension of its 2018 operating referendum. Anyone can attend the meeting to ask any questions they may have. If you can't make tonight's meeting, the district has posted all future info sessions on its website and Facebook page. Every holiday season, Toys for Tots ensures families who can't afford gifts can give their children a holiday to remember. But the future of one of the largest toy drives in the La Crosse community is at risk. News 8 Now's Dua Ishrar explains why JCI La Crosse JCs need community members to step up so they won't have to shut down.
Communities take pride in their local festivities. La Crosse knows a few things about hosting large events.
The people we met, the time that we had, the great time that we had, we're like, hey, this is where we want to be.
None of that is possible without the people pitching in behind the scenes.
You got to get involved.
JCI La Crosse JCs is one of more than 1,000 nonprofits in La Crosse.
If you want to.
They're also the organization behind La Crosse's Toys for Tots drive.
On Christmas morning, knowing that there are kids out there who are now able to have a Christmas, get gifts where they might not have been able to.
After 88 years, membership drive coordinator Jason Jones says the nonprofit is struggling to keep its doors open.
To be a current charter with JCI International, that is 20 members. Currently, I believe we are at 18 to 19.
Losing La Crosse JCs doesn't just impact one part of the community.
We're kind of going to be lost without them.
The nonprofit helps with Riverfest, Rotary Lights, and more.
We built a drive-through tunnel, and ever since 1998, the La Crosse JCs have put it up and taken it down.
Community volunteer Pat Stevens says without volunteers, events that make La Crosse special can't happen.
People have to want to contribute. They have to have a little sacrifice in their daily routines and so on to give back to the community by being involved in an organization. And I hope people feel that way because we need the help.
Jones says he hopes more people will sign up as members.
A lot of people don't know that, hey, we need people to make that program work too. It just doesn't work automatically.
So communities like La Crosse can continue to give back. Reporting in La Crosse, Dua Esrar, News 8 Now.
Jones says the organization has until the end of the year to get at least 20 members. You can find out how to become a member at the La Crosse JC's website. We also have information posted on news8000.com. Students in Bangor are celebrating the most important meal of the day. As a part of National School Breakfast Week, kitchen staff at Bangor Middle and High School wrapped up some breakfast burritos on Wednesday. Staff say breakfast makes a world of a difference for kids. Kitchen manager Michelle Evanson says that some kids do skip meals and may be taking breakfast for granted.
It's not just breakfast. It's something to start their day off in the right way. The right foot. I know that some of these kids, they need that. They need that food in their stomach.
And the kids agree with Evanson. Here's what a few students had to say about the impacts of skipping the most important meal.
When I don't have breakfast, I have low energy and I'm not as energetic.
It usually gives you energy throughout the day. It makes you less angry.
I get hangry sometimes if I don't.
Students will celebrate National School Breakfast Week through Friday. Still ahead on your morning news, why certain car owners were targeted by thieves during the COVID-19 pandemic, we'll explain. And the popular sweet beverage that's all grown up now, that and more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Anyone can be a Barbie girl or boy. On Thursday for National Barbie Day. On March 9th in 1959, the iconic doll debuted at the American International Toy Fair in New York, created by Ruth Handler and named after her daughter Barbara. Barbie was the first doll with adult features. Handler wanted the toy to let girls dream big. Over the years, Barbie has had over 200 careers, including astronauts, surgeons, pilots, nurses, reporters, and even presidential candidates. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning after the break.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. We are looking at mainly cloudy weather conditions right now and a couple of snow flurries, that is, really, but overall we're looking at pretty cloudy skies. All right, so let's get checked now on your zone forecast. La Crosse County today, high temperatures into those mid to upper 30s. Onalaska's at 41. Berry Mills also at 41. West Salem is at 37 degrees. And across our south zones, we're looking at highs today, mainly into those low to mid 30s. 36 in Arcadia today, 36 in Sparta, and 35 today if you're in Osseo. High temperatures will reach the mid 30s across the Chippewa Valley with 36 today if you're in Eau Claire. So your dog walking conditions do look good here this morning. A little bit cloudy though, and then we will be looking at some scattered snow showers arriving as we head into the afternoon hours today, and especially this evening, things turning very snowy. So for your bus stop forecast this morning, overall a quiet start, 35 degrees with cloudy skies, and as we head back home from school this afternoon, it's going to be snowing out there. Temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s, making it more of like a wet snowy feel. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk more about your full weather forecast and I'll break down the timing and details of everything you need to know with this winter storm in just a few minutes.
In our consumer news this morning, U.S. job openings dropped in January. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported numbers fell from 10.8 million from 11.23 million. The report showed hiring increased while layoffs surged. The number of people who quit their jobs also dropped. The continued imbalance between worker supply and demand means the U.S. job market remained tight in January. Federal officials have expressed concern that the tight labor market could keep upward pressure on wages and, in turn, inflation. For the first time in 31 years, Adidas is facing an operating loss. On Wednesday, the shoemaker says it will lose about $736 million this year. Adidas says the loss is related to unsold Yeezy stocks. Shares for the German company fell 2% after it published its 2022 results and its outlook for 2023. In October, the company broke off its 9-year partnership with Yeezy designer Kanye West. Adidas said the breakup will cause its annual revenue to plunge by more than $1 billion this year. And a classic kids drink from the 90s is all grown up. Sunny D is launching a vodka seltzer. The company says they were inspired by people telling them they like to use Sunny D as a mixer in alcoholic beverages. Also, the hard seltzer market is still going strong. The Sunny D seltzer will be available at select Walmart stores starting March 11th. Car thefts jumped during the pandemic and have now hit a mark not seen in almost 15 years. Michael George explains why some cars were targeted more than others.
This Hyundai has been stolen not once, but 3 times.
I'm actually at my wit's end.
Sheila Hughes, who's a member of the U.S. Air Force, says her car was first taken in 2001.
I literally started crying. I broke down because I didn't have a way to get my daughter to school.
Police eventually found it. She had it fixed, only for it to be stolen again and again. Hughes is a victim of a crime wave that took off during the pandemic. Since 2019, vehicle thefts have increased at a rapid rate, hitting more than 1 million last year, the highest total since 2008. The problem is more prevalent in some states. Illinois and Washington state saw thefts jump more than 30% in 2022. New York was up 23%.
We do anticipate throughout the next year these numbers will continue to increase.
David Glaoui is the president of the National Insurance Crime Bureau and says owner complacency is a top reason why.
Key fobs left in cars are a primary issue with cars being stolen.
Glaoui also says used vehicles are more attractive to thieves since prices shot up during the pandemic. Many were certain types of Hyundais and Kias after social media videos showing how to steal them went viral. The companies have since put out software updates to prevent the thefts, but that came too late for Hughes.
I don't want to put my daughter back in that car. I don't want to get back in that car.
When her car was stolen and vandalized a 3rd time, the insurance company totaled it. Now she's shopping for a new vehicle. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The National Insurance Crime Bureau says to prevent theft, make sure to lock your vehicle and take the key or fob. Park in well-lit areas and in a garage if possible. That's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek and what you can expect in today's forecast.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Sophia. We are looking at pretty cloudy conditions right now with current temperatures in La Crosse measuring 36 degrees. We do have a wind chill, though, of 29 when you factor in the east-northeasterly winds at around 8 miles an hour. Now, let's get a check on those current conditions for you folks in Eau Claire. Right now, it's 32 degrees, a feel-like temperature here of 25 degrees. Visibility looking good here as well at around 10 miles, so good driving conditions for your morning commute. Current temperatures across the area mainly into the low 30s north towards the Chippewa Valley. Further south near the La Crosse area, we're looking at current temperature readings into those low to mid 30s. Forecast highs today into the mid 30s across the Chippewa Valley. Looking at very similar conditions central and south here today, with La Crosse probably being the warmest out of everybody today. I'm thinking highs around 41 degrees before it's all said and done. So we're going to start to watch some of that snow come in here around noon today, and then looking very snowy as we head towards those late afternoon and also into those early evening hours here today. And we'll get to that here in just a bit. But I do want to show you what's going on right now, though, locally. And you can see we're under the influence of very cloudy skies, maybe a snow flurry or two underneath some of those thicker clouds. But here is the northern extent of our developing winter storm system. And I say northern because this is what we're going to be under the influence of, the northern side of the low pressure system, which is developing well to our south here. And because of this system, we are not the only ones dealing with winter weather alerts that are in effect. We got winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, and winter storm watches. Remember, yesterday we were under that winter storm watch. Now today that has since been upgraded to a winter storm warning, highlighted in pink for much of the Cooley region. Now the only exception here is portions of the Chippewa Valley, including Eau Claire County. You folks are currently under that winter weather advisory. But regardless, whichever one that you're under, we're still looking at these impacts lasting through at least through early tomorrow, with heavy snow here at times, definitely leading to pretty significant snowfall accumulations at times as well. And of course, this will make travel very difficult here at times here too, especially when the snow gets heavy. And you'll start to see around 10 o'clock this morning some scattered snow showers moving in from the west. We start to turn more snowy here, becoming more widely scattered with snow by the time we reach late this afternoon, and more of the same here. In fact, heavier snow is expected as we head into this evening. And notice how it pretty much covers everybody in the News 8 Now viewing area. As we head into overnight tonight, we start to taper here with some of the snow, but a lot of us will still be looking at some snow showers coming down as we head into the morning hours tomorrow around 5 o'clock, right around that morning commute or so. We are looking at some leftover scattered snow showers that could still fall, but I am thinking by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so around the late hours in general of tomorrow morning, that the snow here should mainly come to a close. Maybe a couple leftover snow flurries as we head into tomorrow afternoon, but overall mainly cloudy throughout much of the day tomorrow after we get through the leftover snow showers and flurries tomorrow morning. So anyway, we are looking at anywhere between around 4 to 8 inches of snow here for many locations, with the only exceptions around that 2 to 4 inch mark across portions of the Chippewa Valley, including Eau Claire. But again, 4 to 8 inches here for much of the Coulee region to work with. Now, believe it or not, we are going to be looking at yet another storm system moving in. So after we get through this one here today and early tomorrow, here comes our next one moving in from the west. And that's going to give us our next best chance of snow here to work with as we head into both Saturday and on Sunday. And you'll see that here on the 8-day forecast. Now we're going to dry out for Monday and Tuesday with highs into the mid to upper 30s. Our next system will bring us another chance of rain and maybe even some snow again by Wednesday of next week. Stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. Here's a check on this day in history for March 9th.
Welcome to the Blitz. The mission to Madison continued a night early for a few of our area teams. The sectional round tipping off on Wednesday because of the pending storm, and there was a storm brewing in Arcadia last night with two Coulee Conference rivals going head-to-head. Every seat filled in the Winex Center for the big game. First half, GET's Cody Schmitz, hot start, scoring the Redhawks' first 3 buckets, putting his team up by 3. Panthers defense coming on strong, though. Peter Latos, the steal, pushes the ball ahead of Carson Kepnick. He's going to bury the 3. Panthers up 6. Kepnick finishes with 18. More from the Panthers. Brennan Kennedy, fast break, finds Tamarian Henderson as he flies toward the hoop. 2 more has the orange and black up 10. GET not going away without a fight. Schmitz pulls up from the free throw line for 2 more of his game-high 32. Redhawks trail by 7. West Salem looking to pull away in the corner. Joe Sullivan, good for 3. Panthers up 11. Sullivan finishes with 17. Everyone on West Salem playing strong. Latos driving the lane past defenders, lays it in for 2 of his team-high 29. Panthers roll to a huge 112-54 win. They'll look to punch their ticket to the state tournament Saturday at Osseo Fairchild. Let's go to Division 4. Luther in Lancaster last night taking on Mineral Point. First half, Knights in transition. Isaiah Switzenberg, no-look pass to Sinclair Bias. That was worth missing his driving lesson. Knights up 4. Mineral Point responds. Cooper Pauskill pull-up jumper. Pointers out in front. They add more with the first half coming to a close. Landon Thousand hits the floater to give them the 6-point halftime lead. Second half, Knights waste no time getting back into it. Switzenberg kicks it out to Will Hughescamp for 3. They're down just 1. Other side of the floor. Switzenberg the steal. He finds Cody Miller. No, you take it. Back to Switzenberg. Knights outscore the Pointers in the second half by 11. They go on to win it 60-55. Knights will be in Baraboo on Saturday night. College hoops now, first round of the Big Ten tournament in Chicago. Badgers needing to make a statement against Ohio State. Instead, it's the Buckeyes doing just that in the first half. Ohio State would go up by as many as 27, but the Badgers battling back in the second half. Connor Essegian, beautiful move and finish at the cup, cuts it to 19. Then with 2 minutes to go, Tyler Wall is going to bank off the window for 3. Wisconsin goes on a 19-2 run, but it's too little, too late for the Badgers as they come up short 65-57. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Breaking overnight, Australia's Prime Minister confirms he will meet with President Biden and the UK's Prime Minister in San Diego next Monday to unveil a submarine plan. Sources familiar with the plan say it will include the Australian purchase of at least 4 nuclear-powered Virginia-class submarines from the U.S. The sources said Australia is also expected to work with the UK on developing a new class of nuclear-powered submarines. In our medical news this morning, the Food and Drug Administration is proposing new rules to ensure tobacco users really know what they're getting. The proposal would standardize the way tobacco products are made and packaged. This includes cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, and e-cigarettes. In a news release, the FDA said that while no tobacco products are safe, the proposed rules are hoping to minimize or prevent additional risks associated with the products. We're seeing a record early start to allergy season. Allergy-triggering pollen is hitting the southern and eastern U.S. early this year than ever before. Waves of the yellow-green dust are swarming the U.S. and coating everything from car windshields to sidewalks. It comes after an exceptionally warm February in the south and east and is part of a trend blamed on climate change. Recent reports found that allergy season has gotten longer on average since 1970. In neighboring Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz has taken a step as he says will make Minnesota safer and more welcoming for the LGBTQ community. The Minnesota governor has signed an executive order designed to protect gender-affirming health care as other states try to limit or ban access. WCCO's Caroline Cummings reports on the impact and what's next.
In this state, hate has no home. In this state, love and acceptance is what we preach.
Governor Tim Walz on Wednesday took action he says is urgent in the face of increasing political attacks on the LGBTQ community nationwide. His executive order instructs state agencies to protect access to gender-affirming health care and not comply with investigations in other states where services may be restricted or outright banned.
And there's nothing in this world that I wouldn't do, that Gretchen and I wouldn't do, to protect her and others like her.
Hao Wen moved people to tears when he spoke of what the action means to him and his family. His 6-year-old daughter is trans. He's grateful for the step by the governor.
We're going to put pen to paper today that say, this state will protect you.
Some states like South Dakota have banned or restricted gender-affirming care for kids. Republicans here recently tried to do the same, raising concern about long-term impacts of some treatments.
Because we should not be messing around with kids.
Many medical groups, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, support youth access to care. A bill moving through the Capitol would make Minnesota a so-called trans refuge. It would shield patients and providers from out-of-state legal actions.
The situation is escalating too rapidly in the United States against the trans and gender expansive people for us to not use every tool we have to protect people.
At the Capitol, Caroline Cummings, WCCO 4 News.
Of the country who wanted to take away.
The trans protection bill is ready for a House floor vote. There's also similar legislation in the Senate. Another bill would add gender identity to the Minnesota Human Rights Act. Ahead of this week's snowstorm, there are still plenty to deal with on the ground. Crews in Minnesota have been busy trying to make room for more. Still, Minneapolis says it's ready for the next streak of snow. WCCO's David Schwam reports on what's to come.
Since the last storm, we have seen a lot of melting. The angle of the sun, along with the milder temperatures, has helped us out quite a bit.
Sure, melting snow has created some difficulties for walkers.
You end up with some sizable lakes you've got to cross while you're crossing intersections.
But Minneapolis is counting on warmer weather to help the city deal with the new snow that's coming.
I don't think we'll do any pre-treating with this one. The temperatures are hovering right around freezing and are scheduled to be above freezing. So, we'll see that heavy slushy snow that should melt off pretty quickly.
City officials say they're watching the forecast to determine whether a snow emergency will be necessary.
In our neighborhood, things are plowed pretty well. I mean, there's potholes, and that's kind of this time of year, there's a lot of potholes. It's March. We're all done. We're all ready to be outside getting that vitamin D.
Minneapolis does a great job with their snow emergency routes, and then you get on the side streets and it's a bit of a challenge.
The city is still removing snow from some streets, but doing a better job clearing, people have told us, than earlier this winter. One thing, though, sure would make a lot of people happier: spring.
I've got a convertible I want to get out of the garage.
Hopefully next year won't be quite as snowy, but we can learn from what happened this year.
Teams in La Crosse are also preparing for another round of snow coming through tonight. Speaking of the snow, let's check in with the man who knows most about it. Derek Sibley, can you tell us what's going to happen?
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for that, Sophia. We are looking at some snowy weather here. That's going to start, it looks like, for much of the area later this morning and then just really continue, especially this afternoon. We'll get to that in a second. But first, those current conditions in La Crosse are for now looking cloudy. It's 36 degrees with a feel like of 29 from the wind chill effect there. East-northeast winds very light at around 8 miles an hour. So those cloudy skies are going to continue to linger through at least 9 o'clock, and then we're going to start to turn snowy here, especially this afternoon and well into the early evening hours too, with temperatures mainly into the 30s. Our forecast high today in La Crosse reaching about 41 with snow very likely. Seasonable temperatures though, looking at easterly winds at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. For tonight, we dropped down to 25. Snow likely especially early, and then it starts to taper here later in the night. North-northeast winds at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. Drivecast this morning, cloudy here for the morning, and then some snow showers begin to move in for the mid-hour commute, followed by very snowy conditions as we head into this evening as well, making those road conditions not exactly ideal. And we'll talk more about this too in the full weather forecast after the break. But coming up in our Buzz Report, from long speeches to stage performances, what you need to know ahead of Sunday's Academy Awards show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, it sure is a very cloudy start here so far, and that's a sign of what's to come here later in the day, and we'll get to those details in just a second. I do want to show you those current conditions now in La Crosse. It's 36 degrees underneath those very overcast skies and east-northeast winds at around 8 miles an hour. That's making our feel-like temperature at 29 degrees. In other words, the wind chill effect there. Current conditions to the north in Eau Claire looking much colder with the temperature reading of 32 degrees. It feels like more on the 25-degree side when you factor in the wind chills here as well. Visibilities, though, are looking clear at around 10 miles, so good driving conditions pretty much everywhere here this morning, with current readings well into the 30s across the viewing area, with high temperatures expected to reach those mid to upper 30s, and in some spots too, like La Crosse, may even reach the low 40s before it's all said and done here today. Let's get checked now on your daycast. 37 degrees with some of those snow showers beginning to move in by around noon today, and then it's going to be turning very snowy around 4 o'clock. Still looking very snowy here as we head into early this evening, with those temperatures mainly into the 30s, making up what could be more of a wet snow here as well to work with. So satellite and radar looking pretty quiet for now. Cloudy skies, maybe a couple of snow flurries underneath some of those thicker clouds, but we're actually under the influence of the northern extent of our developing low pressure system, which is actually going to be developing well to our south. And as it continues to move through, it's going to produce those snowy conditions that we're expecting come later today. Winter weather alerts are in effect here, as you can see, across much of the central and western United States. This does include us here in the upper Midwest in the Coulee region, where we do have a winter storm warning highlighted in pink. This includes La Crosse County, but it does not include Eau Claire County. For you folks in Eau Claire, you're currently under that winter weather advisory. But regardless if you're under the advisory or the warning, we're still expecting heavy snow here. We're also expecting snow accumulations, and this will cause dangerous traveling conditions here at the same time. So let's time it out on Sky Tracker, and you can see as we head to around 10 o'clock, starts to tap into some of those scattered snow bands beginning to move through. Now by 3 o'clock, it becomes a little bit more widespread, and then late this afternoon to early this evening, I expect really everybody to be looking at some snowfall here as we head into those early evening hours especially, and some of that snow may even turn heavy at times here too. By overnight, we start to see this taper here a little bit, and as we head into early tomorrow morning around 5 o'clock, right around that morning commute, We start to see this begin to taper even a little bit more, but maybe a couple of scattered snow showers are still possible here too. I do expect that all the snow will come to a close by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Maybe a couple of snow flurries here and there, but overall a pretty overcast day here for the rest of the day tomorrow. By 6 o'clock, again, very cloudy, maybe a couple of snow flurries possible underneath some of the thicker cloud cover though. Snowfall totals anywhere between 4 to 8 inches here are likely across many locations in the Coulee region, with 2 to 4 inches mainly focused well to the north. Let's get checked now on what's going to happen here next, because we do expect that after we get through this next storm system, we're expecting another one. I know it's not the news you probably wanted to hear, but it is going to be making its way from the west and giving us our next best chance of snow here to work with come Saturday and also as we head into Sunday. Here's a check on that 8-day forecast, and you'll see what we're dealing with here. 60% snow chances for Saturday and Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, mostly, partly to mostly cloudy, that is, with temperatures well into the 30s. We'll be watching yet another system on Wednesday that could give us a chance of rain or snow. We'll keep our eyes on that here by around midweek. Otherwise, highs mainly into the 30s and 40s. And lows mainly in the 20s.
In our Buzz Report this morning, the Academy Awards are this Sunday night, and once again, winners will play the game of Beat the Clock, trying to squeeze in all of their thank yous before the dreaded music starts playing. The two men in charge of cueing that "Please Stop Talking" music say they are not trying to be disrespectful. The executive producers said if someone is giving a heartfelt, well-meaning speech, they will not get cut off. But if a winner starts reading what feels like a grocery list, the music will start playing. Sticking to the Oscars, we're learning more about who will and won't take the stage on Sunday. This year's Academy Awards will not include a performance by Lady Gaga. "Hold My Hand" from Top Gun Maverick is up for Best Original Song, but show director Glenn Weiss says Lady Gaga is busy shooting the Joker sequel and won't have time to rehearse. However, she will still attend Sunday's ceremony.
Why do you want to dunk so bad? Is it really about this bet with Matt?
If I could dunk, it would be proof that I could be more than who I am.
An Asian American teen is determined to prove his doubters wrong in Chang Can Dunk. Writer-director Jingyi Shou says he was inspired by his own love of the game. Shou says the movie is about taking on something you're passionate about despite being afraid to fail. The movie debuts on Disney Plus tomorrow. You think you'll watch that?
Perhaps. We'll see. I don't know. How about you?
Probably not.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anyway.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
We got a handful of birthdays here today, Sophia. We want to wish Catherine a happy 8th birthday to start us off. And Catherine is very active in her community through sports, clubs, and volunteering.
Happy 8th birthday to Jace. Jace loves wrestling and is a huge fan of Pokemon.
Happy 18th birthday to Caitlin. Caitlin is a senior in high school and looks forward to attending college in the fall.
Happy 80th birthday to Bob. Bob loves to go hunting and fishing and is also a great-grandfather.
Happy 88th birthday to Jean. Now, Jean was a dedicated nurse for over 40 years.
And happy 88th birthday to Rita. Rita loves to go for a drive and visiting her family.
Last but not least, we want to give a special shout out to News 8's very own Joe. Joe has been working at WKBT for 18 years. He is a master control operator, an extraordinaire, and never hesitates to help or clarify technical aspects in the newsroom. Joe's positivity is also something that lifts the spirits of everyone in the newsroom. He makes sure to say hello and say goodbye to everyone that he sees, and he treats everyone with kindness and respect. Our entire staff would like to thank him for his 18 years here at WKBT. Here's to 18 more, Joe.
If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old, we'd love to feature them.
Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Time for your morning news now. Governor Tony Evers is continuing his statewide budget tour. On Wednesday, the governor made a stop in Chippewa Falls, where he visited the YMCA of the Chippewa Valley, an organization that has benefited from state funding. The Y has received more than $600,000 through the Child Care Counts program. Evers' budget includes more than $340 million for Child Care Counts. He says more affordable child care helps everyone in the workforce. Every holiday season, Toys for Tots makes sure kids in the lacrosse community have a present to open. JCI Lacrosse JCs is the organization behind Toys for Tots, but after 88 years, the nonprofit may have to shut down unless community members step up. Membership Drive Coordinator Jason Jones says COVID-19 decreased the number of members, and now the nonprofit is struggling to keep its doors open.
To be a current charter with JCI International, that is 20 members. Currently, I believe we are at 18 to 19.
The nonprofit has organized Toys for Tots for over 50 years. Jones says the organization has until the end of the year to get at least 20 members. You can find out how to become a member at the Lacrosse JC's website. We also have that information on news8000.com. A student-led event is helping voters get to know more about the candidates running for the Lacrosse School Board. Leaders Igniting Transformation, also known as LIT, hosted a candidate forum Wednesday night along with the League of Women Voters. And CSI, 6 of the 8 candidates were at the forum. Organizers say it's important for kids to get to know who's on their school's board and that students are looking for changes in their district.
They want more mental health support and support systems within the school. They want more diversity within staff and student population. They want more inclusion and belongingness amongst themselves and their peers. And they just want more funding for things that matter most to them. So extracurriculars, classes that they care about.
West says allowing students to ask candidates questions themselves lets them have a stake in the election, even though a vast majority of students aren't eligible to vote. Students in Bangor are celebrating the most important meal of the day as a part of National School Breakfast Week. Kitchen staff at Bangor Middle and High School wrapped up some breakfast burritos on Wednesday. Staff say breakfast makes a world of a difference for kids. Kitchen manager Michelle Evanson says that some kids do skip meals and may be taking breakfast for granted.
It's not just breakfast. It's something to start their day off in the right way. The right foot. I know that some of these kids, they need that. They need that food in their stomach.
And the kids agree with Evanson. Here's what a few students had to say about the impacts of skipping the most important meal.
When I don't have breakfast, I have low energy and I'm not as energetic. It usually gives you energy throughout the day. It makes you less angry.
I get hangry sometimes if I don't.
Students will celebrate National School Breakfast Week through Friday.
As you head out the door this morning, we got cloudy skies here to deal with first with temperatures in the 30s. Now it's going to start snowing here, looks like, late this morning and then really just come down consecutively and pretty fast too as we head into the later afternoon to early evening hours. And that snow could be heavy at times here too, with temperatures mainly into the 30s. Winter storm warnings highlighted in pink there, and winter weather advisories for our folks up in Eau Claire and the Chippewa Valley. The check now on your 8-day forecast shows us that we're going to be looking at more snow as we head into this weekend, unfortunately. So looks to be a bit of a snowy pattern here.
Thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy week for you.
Yeah, it's going to be busy, and we'll be covering it here on Saturday as well, on Sunday too, early Sunday, and then looks like we get a break for much of next week, but we're tracking maybe another system Wednesday.
Hopefully we'll get some sun.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com, and we'll have the latest updates to today's top stories on News 8 Now at noon. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for watching News 8.